So far, whenever I've gone out to do this one-shot photography challenge, I've tried to make it a genuine challenge myself. Whether it's been to Bodiam Castle, St Thomas Becket Church or Elmley Ferry, each time I've veered away from the predictable shot and I've tried to step outside of my comfort zone. Today though, things are a little bit different. This morning I've ventured out to Leeds Castle, and one thing I love about Kent and the South East is just how many castles and historical sites there are to explore. You've got places like Dover Castle, which I still need to visit, the ruins of Thurnham Castle. There really is a little bit of everything, really. If I was to stick with my tried and tested formula in regards to the one-shot photography challenge, then coming out here to Leeds Castle this morning, I'd be coming out to shoot something that is anything but the castle. Whenever I've come out and shot the one-shot photography challenge, it's all about stepping outside of my comfort zone, thinking outside of the box. However, today I thought it would be fun to take a shot of the castle. What makes that a challenge though? Well, I can immediately think of 4 different spots to stand in and capture a shot of the castle from. However, today, because it's the one-shot photography challenge, I'm limited to just one shot. No more, no less. First spot to stand from is right down here on the water's edge, right by the moat. From here you're looking across at Leeds Castle itself and you can really appreciate the grandeur of the historical site. For some reason I wanted to visit Leeds Castle for a few years, but it took a while for me to make that first visit down here. That first trip down to Leeds Castle, I couldn't have timed it any better. I'm standing right here on the edge of the moat and I've got some beautiful atmospheric conditions. Some lovely mist moving across the scene, revealing the subject ever so beautifully. It was perfect. If we come down to this spot, I'd advise using an ultra-wide angle lens. I've got my 15 to 30mm on the front of the camera. I've got the live view up so you can see what I'm seeing. And it just allows you to get the full castle in shot from this particular viewpoint. I don't think it's going to be my one shot of the day though. I think this is a great place to stand for sunrise, and there's not that explosion of colour like what I'd normally hope for, so I think we'll move on. Second spot worth standing in if you want a shot of Leeds Castle, although it is my least favourite, is right here. You've got all this undergrowth here in the foreground. You've got the moat in the midground. You've got the castle looming up in the background. Talking of that first trip out here though, I had those lovely atmospheric conditions. I've almost got that again this morning. I've got a lovely bit of low mist almost. Maybe it's some haze just lying, crossing the moat. It's making for a beautiful morning. Like I say though, this I would say is my least favourite of the 4. Got all this undergrowth, got the reeds obscuring the moat. Makes the scene just a little bit too messy for my liking. Third spot worth standing when you come to Leeds Castle is up here on this hillside. Get some lovely views across the grounds, with of course Leeds Castle the prominent subject. That first time I came out here though, I didn't just get to enjoy the atmospheric conditions. I came here in the autumn time. So as well as the mist, I've got some lovely rich autumnal colours to enjoy. Just to the left of the castle are some trees. And I've got a lovely shot of those autumnal colours. And it's proof that when you come to Leeds Castle, yes, the castle is a great subject to shoot, but there's also other subjects that you can try and find. If I was to do the one-shot photography challenge from this spot, I'd have my telephoto lens on the front of my camera, my 100 to 400mm. Quite ironic. 3 spots visited and I've used 2 different lenses so far. The trouble with using my 100 to 400mm from this spot though, it allows me to get rid of all this foreground, focusing on the trees and the castle and the grounds in the background. However, from past visits to this spot, I've had to capture this shot as a panorama. That's not a one-shot photography challenge. This whole challenge is about taking just one photo. So no panoramas, no exposure bracketing, and no focus stacking. I know the castle itself was always going to be the main focus for the one-shot photography challenge today, but I've just had a nice little wander around the grounds just to see if I could find something else, see if I could find something different that maybe caught my eye this morning. I think though I was always coming to this fourth spot. I've got the camera set up on the tripod ready to fire. Let me get the live view up and I can talk you through this particular scene that we're going to capture today. This scene though, I reckon it's my favourite overlooking Leeds Castle. You get the castle in the background, you get the surrounding countryside and the grounds. The sun's up now, which might be a little bit of a nuisance, but I'll deal with that. I can always imagine, back in the Middle Ages though, some traveller, weary traveller on their way home. They've got to this point and they can see the castle, they can see home so very close, so very nearby. The shot I'm going for though, we've got our post. We've got a lovely little post just here. I've always loved that. And then for our weary traveller, we've got a path leading us around, down, leading our eye towards the castle itself ever so beautifully. In terms of the settings, I've got the 24 to 105mm on the front of the camera. 4 different spots I've stood in this morning, 3 different lenses that I could have used. I'm at about 24mm as well, so taking everything into shot where possible. ISO 100 because I'm on the tripod. F8, get everything nice and sharp. Gives me a shutter of around 1/100 of a second. Lovely, magnificent setting. 4 very different spots to stand in. Let me know down below in the comments which spot you would have stood in and what shot you would have taken.